Maverick 100.9 Aggie Lands Country Alternative. It's Corliss, and I get to talk to my friend Dusty Moats. Hey, Dusty.
Hey, Corliss, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm so glad to be chatting with you again, not just because I'm always excited for like new music, but I finally got to meet you in person and get a big old bear hug. So that was awesome.
Yeah, we finally did get to connect in real life, right? This video and radio and telephone chat stuff, we got to put all that stuff to the side and actually really physically meet each other.
It was so cool. You know, we were at an award show. We were at the TCMAs and you were like, man, I never do this kind of stuff. And I'm like, well,
well, it's kind of
you get me along with it, you know?
Well, and hey, I tell you, we had a blast meeting you. The crew that we were with were some of the guys out of Louisiana, and they really enjoyed meeting your group. And man, you're always a ray of light, video or in person.
I try. Oh. It's a little bit rainy today, so I'm trying to bring the sparkle to it, you know?
Well, you make the trying look effortless.
Well, speaking of effortless, you know, you and I have had this conversation before, but there is something about 90s country that just kind of spews from you in such a modern way. And you and I have a new single to chat about today called Honky Tonk Ways.
Yes, ma'am.
So I assume that you put that nice little vintage spin on it once again.
We did. And you know, it's got a little bit of modernization to it, but you know, I reflect back to growing up playing in all the honky tonks in the early and mid 90s and listening to like my favorites like Brooks and Dunn and, you know, with Holding On, it was Steve Wariner, McBride and the Ride and Black Hawk and those big vocal groups. With this song in particular, man, it's straight. It is exactly what we loved about the real up-tempo 90s music, from Ain't Going Down Till the Sun Comes Up to Hard Working Man by Brooks and Dunn. It's really in that vibe. And of course at Rosewood, they get me. They get me. I'm working with multiple studios on multiple projects and they all get me. Rosewood has got me from the moment I walked into the door. And I think, man, channeling the energies of what I call the ghost of my 90s past, they brought it to life and they did an amazing job.
It's almost like they're mind readers. Like producers have to be mind readers.
Oh, totally. And, you know, those guys down there are so laid back and absolutely amazing. You know, they work with so many different people. And, you know, it's really easy to become homogenized, right? Especially in studios, you know, the way things are recorded. What I really love about what they do is everybody's got a distinct signature sound. And, man, even when we channel that 90s, there's still something about it that they help make, and I help make my brand. Like I don't even know how else to say this. We talk so much about it. I feel so stupid saying Dusty Moats is a brand, but
it is.
But when you look at the music is a brand of me. It's a part of me, and so they do an amazing job of channeling my thoughts and ideas. And it's interesting. I give a little direction when we're there, but what I love the most about that is we just let the guys play.
Yeah.
And they're feeling it without the direction. So that means I know that I'm writing that type of song, that the energy that I'm channeling through that writing is getting to those musicians and they're just laying it down.
I think it's easy to say that it's like, if anybody's ever met you, you just want to make people dance. So it's like,
you're right. That's true.
You really do. Like, you just want to make people's bodies move. And so when you're recording with people and you're going into new records, you're doing this, you're doing that. I know it almost sounds too simple, but it really is that simple. Like, just make them dance and it comes out.
Well, we've kind of lost that. We've talked about this. We've lost that. I remember in the 90s and the early 2000s, those dance halls were huge and people two-stepped and three-stepped and shuffled and what is it? The progressive, all these really cool dances, the jitterbug. I can't believe I even know all of those, but it's because I had to know music that they could do that to. And we've lost some side of that. And I think that's another reason why there's a little reminiscent going on with 90s cover bands. There's a cool band here in Dallas Fort Worth that's traveling all over Texas called the Neon Prophets. And they do nothing but 90s covers, but they dress up with the mullets and the cowboy hats and the sun, and it's amazing. And people flock.
Yeah.
So I know that in that sense, not that it's missing, there are people that are craving more of that. Right. And so for me, it's a great window of opportunity to bring that to them, because it's what I love. 90s music's what I love.
Well, what do you say we make them dance, Dusty?
Let's do it.
We're debuting it on Maverick 100.9. For the first time, it's Dusty Moats and Honky Tonk Ways. Due to copyright, Brian Broadcasting is not licensed to air this single for you in podcast form, but you can now find it anywhere that you stream and download music. And today's interview continues now. That was Honky Tonk Ways, Dusty Moats on Maverick 100.9. I'm on the horn with my friend Dusty right now, who just became a grandfather of his third grandbaby today, right?
Yes, ma'am.
My goodness.
Surprise, right?
Surprise. I don't know how you do it. I mean, really, you are working very hard, not just on your own music, but you help out a lot of other musicians, and you're constantly working up new festivals. And you've also got a family of your own. What's the Dusty Moats secret?
Balance. Over the last couple of years, music's important. Bar none. To come back to this after doing this after kind of being away you kind of know the story. I don't know if anybody else does, but I kind of got away from music the last 12 or 14 years until about 3 years ago. And COVID, as horrible as it was for a lot of people, for me, it was a rebirth. And I think a lot of people felt that too. I was able to start doing something that I had dreamed of doing a long time ago and done to some extent, but really because of where I'm at mentally, family-wise, I was able to take it to a level that I've never seen it before. But the true thing is balance, and it's hard. I do struggle to find time for family, but I also know that when I'm traveling, I've got a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, he's 11 now. Up until 6 months ago, if I was traveling, as long as I wasn't out of state, I would make it back. I would coach his football games. I would just be engaged. It was that important. And so, but I also believe, and we're going to kind of get into something, I also believe that when you live your life to help others, you are abundantly blessed. And so I think while I'm working hard on my own stuff, I truly believe that some of the work that I do to find success with me, I can help teach other people, and also help do it for them, to help them find success, especially at a rate that man, it works with what a musician makes. I call it an artist alliance. And so the balance comes from, and we got a little group, all the ones that are in our little group that we kind of hang with, and we add some new ones. Kenny Jean is actually going to join our little group this year, our little artist alliance, which I think is going to be amazing. Yeah, she's got a great single coming out. And then you also see that we play together a lot. You'll see me with Austin, or you'll see me with Cleet, or you'll see me with Brad or Jesse Jennings. We do a lot of that stuff, which I think is part of it. And I think they're helping me, I'm helping them. And I think if more of us did that as artists, we'd be a lot further along.
Kind of helps with that balance, doesn't it? When when the people you're working with are also helping you, and they're part of your tribe, they're part of your family. So I could see how that all meshes together. But speaking of the work you're doing, you're in full swing to bust out a new album. Oh yeah. I don't want to say this because the Honky Tonk Ways is just in like its second or third week. Yeah. I'm already bored with it. I know. I've been listening to it for so long, but it also, I was talking to Austin before I got on the phone with you, and we were laughing. He's got a new single coming out, and he goes, man, I just realized I got a new single come out, but I'm not paying any attention on it because I'm working with a new album. And I go, man, I'm the same way. But I got to stay focused. Counter reminder, share some content about Honky Tonk Ways. Talk to Corliss about Honky Tonk Ways. Talk to Thomas Wright about Honky Tonk Ways. And also talk about the new music that's coming.
I am so thrilled. My music has been really, really fun, I think, up to this point. Holding On was a relatively mature song.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I've released has been fun. I will tell you, the stuff that we've got coming out is probably more serious in nature for me, but it's got some depth. It's got some maturity. There's a little channeling of some of that, the 80s neo country, like Gary Stewart in a couple tunes. Kind of Mike and the Moon Pies reminiscent, Midland, but it's still got that 90s feel to it. I'm doing a cover on this album that I've never released a cover before, but it's something we do in our live shows that people have been like, man, you got to cut it. A song off of Family Ties. I don't know if you remember Family Ties.
Of course.
A song called At This Moment by Billy Vera and the Beaters.
Yes.
Kind of a really cool song. And then, man, I've got a collaboration with Abel Casillas from the Squeezebox Bandits on this album that's a tribute to Freddie Fender, called Fender Bender, that was written by Kyle Fambro, and then with a little help from myself on the writing as well. And man, just a really cool neo country honky tonk, just more mature than what I've normally done. Now there is a fun song on there.
Yes, of course.
And you got to throw that in. And then I kind of told you some of the other projects that we're working on. I've got a remix of a song that I released last year that's going to be a lot of fun and way different. And then I've got a tribute project that I'm working on with Jeremy Payton, Leaf Shively, Zeb Rogers, those Louisiana guys. And then we've got a Rusty Weird acoustic tribute album. So I've got my hands in so many different things, and I'm so excited. I never would have dreamed that I would be releasing 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 songs in a year.
Yeah.
But I think all the work that we've been doing and more than the work, the relationships we build have culminated into opportunities for myself and for other people. So having a chance to work with Steel Record Studios and Rosewood Studios and another couple of small studios here in Fort Worth have just, man, for me, it continues my learning as a musician and surrounding myself with people that maybe have different approaches to things. And so I can continue to evolve as an artist.
You are definitely very open-minded. That is for sure. And it just adds to my love of all of your projects. It really does.
I think you're going to be really, really excited if you love old honky tonk music. And I'm talking 70s.
Have we met?
Yeah. I think there's a couple songs. I have a song called Under the Neon that, man, it was interesting. As a musician and as a writer, right, you're never really sure as to, is it good? Is it not good? What does it look like? And I was, when I sat with the team, with the musicians, and as we're recording it, the facial expressions when we were recording this music said it all. And I had one say to me, my gosh, it's really refreshing to do music like this. And for me, that meant the world, because there's over 300 years of music experience in there. And it was just an affirmation, maybe not that it was good per se, but that we're on to something, right? Yeah. And that we're touching the right spots. And when people say, hey, man, keep writing stuff like this, keep doing stuff like this, it just feels good. And man, I think I told you the last time, I'm just going to push all the chips in on the 90s. Oh, that's what we did.
Good. You got to be confident in something, because we're often our own worst critics.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I think you taking this confident approach and knowing exactly what you're doing is going to serve you better. So I guess my next question is, can we expect all of that music this year?
Yes.
Really?
Yep. I'm going to inundate you guys in 2023 with a bunch of different stuff.
Wow.
I don't know if you know this. In the last 18 months, I've released six singles, including a Christmas song.
Yes. And so, which I loved, by the way.
Well, thank you. That was so much fun to write. And I got to be honest, I think that really was a catalyst for the year that I'm having.
Yeah.
I think what happens is we as artists, we release content when everybody else is. And so you kind of get caught up in all the noise of everybody else doing it 2 and 3. You get 200 songs a week. You know how that goes. Well, at Christmas time, it's a great opportunity for an artist to really build their brand, right? And so DJ at Smith was like, you got to release a Christmas song. And I talked about doing the cover, and he goes, no, write one. We wrote that song in about 4 hours time. It only took 2 days really to finish it and cut it. There was a time when I took off to Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, so we had a delay there. But when you really look at the time, we could have had it done and out in 2 days. Wow. And it was, when you think about Christmas, there were only 25 or 30 Christmas songs truly released this year. Now, there was some old stuff to choose from, but not many of them were original. And I truly think that kind of really opened up people's eyes to what I was doing. Because I released a song when there wasn't all this noise. Yeah. There's more, people got to see something, and people like you that we've been connected and talking for the last, couple of years, you knew what was there. Some people didn't. And so I think that's really how we're getting so much success with Honky Tonk Ways in the first couple months. I think the song's great, but I truly think that, man, I finally reached some people that I might not have reached before just through the aspect of releasing a Christmas song.
Yeah. Well, we had it on Cooking Corliss this year, and it was an absolute hit. It was wonderful. And
you're so kind.
Well,
and, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you please.
Well, the songwriter. So that was my first collaboration with Kyle Fambro and Dan Smalley. Kyle is a former popular Texas-based artist that was doing some cool stuff. And Dan is an amazing Nashville artist that, man, if you haven't checked him out, he's amazing. Got new stuff going. And so I met him up in Idaho last year. Honestly, I met him through Josh Langston. Yeah. And he's kind of became a part of the little network. Well, that not only did we release that cool piece of content, there's 4 songs on this album that Kyle and myself wrote together or had part of together that kind of created a relationship that, man, really brought this different dynamic of writing to what I'm doing. So, I want you to reflect for a minute, because I'm actually sitting here having this moment. I remember the last couple of times we've talked, I've been overly excited and really talking about the single and what we're doing. But if you listen and think about how different this conversation is in comparison to where I was at, I think I was still trying to find what I was wanting to do and what my approach was going to be. And I think the difference in this conversation is the amazing influences and the experience that I've gained through talking with folks like you and industry people down here, and then co-writing with all these people. We have found, and the musicians give me feedback, and the studio oh my gosh, we have found a direction. And I know sometimes we as artists, we wander aimlessly trying to find what we want to pinpoint and how that works. And the sad part about it is I kind of knew it all along. I just waited to have some affirmation to jump in and do it. And for me, I think the most proud, once this is all said and done, is not only the production and the quality work from the musicians, is that I think that for me, I kind of stayed true to what I've done pretty much my whole life and where I started from.
There's not a time limit on it. It's got to come to you at some point. There's no time limit on any of my projects. It's always that growth and that moving forward. And I think right now you are just in the thick of that growth. And I think you're going to see that success come back in that form, kind of like you said, you're blessed, and it is going to bless you back. You know what I mean?
You say that, and I sit back and I reflect, and I realize how thankful and grateful that I truly am, because I would have never imagined 5 years ago that I would be doing this again.
Right.
And, I almost tear up a little bit, like right now. I'm kind of misty, because it's an opportunity that I didn't think would ever come back around, and to be living it, but living it with the frame of mind that I have, with whether it's sobriety, right?
Yes.
Or whether it's my perspective on my family. It's a game changer, and it's been amazing for me. I can't say if it was all to stop today, I would still be just as blessed and just as thankful.
You did what you could. Well, y'all, once again, that is my friend Dusty Moats. We're chatting with his brand new single, Honky Tonk Ways, is available everywhere now. And we're going to be catching up with Dusty a lot over the new year, because he's going to have a lot coming out. And Dusty, as always, I love you. And thank you so much for coming to Maverick.
Hey, I'm so proud of you too. You keep rocking. Thank you for having me.